We seem to be getting more and more solo villain movies. Some are really bad, like Joker 2, Morbius, Craven coming out, and kind of just mediocre, like the Venom films, even though those are at least fun. And then you have some really good ones, like the Penguin and the first Joker movie. Since this seems to be the newest trend, here are villains from Marvel and DC that I think deserve their own solo movies and TV shows. I think one of the biggest mistakes the MCU has ever made was actually killing off Killmonger after his first appearance in the Black Panther movie. And I know he kind of shows up for like 5 seconds in Wakanda Forever, but this was a character that was so good and captivating as a villain that seeing him be a reoccurring villain or have a solo TV show would have been incredible. This was a villain that just had so much depth and character in the MCU, and you really understood all his motivations and his backstory, why he does and thinks the way that he does, and having him die after the first Black Panther movie was such a waste of potential. I think he should have stayed alive, and we should have got a series focusing on him after the events of Black Panther or even the second one. It would have been so interesting to see him dealing with his defeat and maybe building himself back up to either become another villain in a Black Panther sequel or different project, or maybe he ends up even teaming up with the new Black Panther. Either way, it could have been so interesting, and it's really a shame because Michael B. Jordan was given his all into this performance. I wish we just got to see more of this character. Switch it up to DC for a second because I think the Scarecrow deserves his own solo series or movie, specifically taking place in Matt Reeves' universe, especially after we've been seeing how incredible the Penguin series has been. I'm doing recaps on my channel, by the way, check those out. I would love to see the Scarecrow introduced in the Batman Part 2, maybe just like the Penguin was in Part 1, where he's kind of more of a side character on the side. Maybe he's just Dr. Crane at this point, and then after the Batman Part 2, we get a solo series focusing on him, building him up to be a major part in the Part 3. Because yes, it would be annoying to have to wait like 3 to 4 years before we get to see a Scarecrow solo project, but I would be willing to wait if the quality matches what we're getting in the Penguin, and I really think he could fit into this more grounded and super dark and gritty version of Gotham that Matt Reeves is building, because we saw Christopher Nolan do a thing too that was a little fantastical but still fit into a realistic world. Plus there's always the theme of fear in the Batman movies, and now we're dealing with the new Bliss drug, and there's just so many things that keep pointing to him possibly showing up. We were talking about the doctors and Arkham in the Penguin series. I really think he needs a solo project. I think the Scarlet Witch definitely deserves a solo movie in the MCU. I know she's like technically quote unquote dead because of Multiverse of Madness, but come on, we saw the red little blurb fly away from the rocks, and we know she's probably going to come back by the end of Agatha All Along or some future project. And you're probably thinking, hey, she already has WandaVision where she really is the villain of, and we see her as the villain of Multiverse of Madness, so she really need a solo project on top of that. And to that, I'm going to have to say yes, because this is one of the longest running MCU characters we have now that we've lost a lot of our OG Avengers. She's been here since Age of Ultron. There's just so much history and lore to this character, but I feel like there's still so much more to explore, especially if they introduce the X-Men after the next Avengers movies. I really think they can tie her in somehow. Plus, she's going to be one of, if not the most powerful MCU character if she does fully come back, and I feel like you can't just have that type of character just be like a side Avengers character that has like 5 minutes of screen time in Avengers Secret Wars or something like that. She needs a focus on her in a solo project. Her being so powerful is also why I think they can't really bring her back to the hero side of things. She has to go fully down the villain or anti-hero route because she needs to be this like super powerful being that others have to face. I absolutely loved Elizabeth Olsen's performance as the villain in Multiverse of Madness, and I want to see more of it badly. Poison Ivy feels like one of the most iconic Batman villains that gets constantly just disrespected and underused in live action, because why have we not had another live action Poison Ivy since like Batman and Robin? I actually really like Uma Thurman in that movie. I think she's having a ton of fun and just gives us a really wacky version of the character, but it fits into the film pretty perfectly in my opinion, even though the movie on its own is pretty bad. But like, this character is so prominent in the comics, different animated TV shows, even video games, and I just don't understand why she hasn't been more of a focus in the Batman universe of the live action films. I think Poison Ivy would fit in so perfectly in James Gunn's new DCU, getting like a solo movie or TV show, building her up to be a major villain in the one of the Batman projects there, because we know his Batman's going to be a lot more fantastical than Matt Reeves' super realistic take, because obviously this Batman's going to be tying in with the Justice League, and we see that like Clayface is in this because he's in the new Creature Commando show, so he's going to be facing all sorts of just super powered villains that we probably won't see in other versions, so just introduce her into that. Seriously, I don't know what their beef is with putting her in live action projects, but this is a character that truly could be interesting to explore in a solo movie or TV show, because we really haven't seen that much of her in live action. Let me know in the comments below any villain that you think deserves their own solo movie or TV show, because there's so many more great ones that I could have put on this list, but I want to hear from you guys, and I might make a part 2 going over my favorites of your comments.